Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is some full reviews from Lorenzo, Villoresi, Firenze, and we're going to do two fragrances in one video. So we're going to be reviewing Sandalo and Kamasurabhi, as you can tell by the video title. So the first one we're going to talk about is Sandalo. When I first tested it, I kind of compared it slightly in the similar kind of vein to Tamdao Diptyque or by Kilian Sacred Wood. There's definite differences there. Just because you like either of those two fragrances, you might not like this one. It's not guaranteed, although all three try to use sandalwood as a main kind of vibe in the fragrance. Sandalo has definitely got more notes. It's not completely sandalwood. There's other things going on. When you first apply it, there's something slightly herbal about it, maybe just a hint green herbal. There is also a dusty kind of powdery quality to this, subtle floral nuance, rosewater kind of vibe. Rose is listed, but to me it's more watery. It's like a rose water, the way it comes across on my skin. Kind of a watery rose, also a little bit powdery, a little bit dusty, a little bit herbal. There's something also slightly creamy, which seems to contradict the powderiness, but that's the only way I can explain it. Something powdery, also something creamy. And there's a couple of woods listed in Sandalo, not just sandalwood, there's also rosewood in here. I think in the initial opening you probably get a combination of both those things, because there's something just a little bit more, I would say, darker and grainier than sandalwood, so I'm presuming that's probably the rosewood kind of coming through maybe. I will spray it again on the back of my hand just to kind of refresh myself again. There is a subtle sweetness without being overly sweet. I think the thing in this that hits me a little bit is kind of a musky kind of envelope. I get something musky, and I think that muskiness helps give it this somewhat creamy, somewhat soapy kind of leaning tinge a little bit. I don't think it would be for everybody. I enjoy by Kilian Sacred Wood, but I think I prefer Sacred Wood to this. I think the other notes and just the way the sandalwood is used in this, not totally my taste. It goes a little bit soapy, a little bit floral, a little bit powdery. It goes in directions that aren't that attractive to me, although I think it's a pleasant fragrance. As it dries down into the base, there's hints of resins, but not overly much. I don't get like massive whacks of an ambery resinous dry down, but there's just a little nuance of that. And it dries down into this, like I say, sandalwood, slightly ambery and musky kind of fragrance. Altogether, I would say it's an all year round fragrance. To me, it's light enough that you could wear it in the summer if you wanted to with fewer sprays, and you could wear it in the winter with a few more sprays and anywhere in between. For me, it's completely unisex, but again, not everybody will love it. Maybe it smells just a little bit old-fashioned, possibly. I think it's one to definitely test a sample of first before buying it. There's no huge major swings or changes with this, except it just kind of mellows out and tones out. In terms of performance for this one, solid 6 to 7 hours longevity with a modest sillage and projection, kind of not huge, but you know, a small bubble around you. 6 to 7 hours is probably enough for most people, so I've got no complaints with the performance. Altogether, I think it's pleasant, although I think not everyone will love it, and really test a sample before, you know, I wouldn't recommend blind buying a bottle based on it being, so to speak, called Sandalo and meant to be all around sandalwood. Definitely test a sample first. So the second fragrance we're going to talk about and review is Kamasurabhi. So the next one, which I'm going to put up on my kind of higher arm to remind myself again, this also features sandalwood. However, this one has got a bigger dose of florals, and they're quite sweet florals. I would think jasmine is something in this, more kind of white floral, but there's also kind of a sweeter floral thing going on. I don't know if there's tuberose or kind of other white florals in there. I think ylang ylang was listed, but you get this kind of big kind of floral thing in the opening paired with, again, sandalwood. This one probably leans a little bit on the more feminine leaning side. Not all men would enjoy wearing this themselves. It might just be a bit too feminine. Again, there's something just a little bit powdery about it in a subtle way, not overly, but just a little bit. But this sweet floral concoction, which is kind of a little bit hard to pinpoint exactly what we were smelling, it just feels like a mix of florals that are generally come across smelling like white floral but also sweet. That's kind of what you get for the most part with this kind of sandalwood note kind of behind it. Again, a little bit like Sandalo, this one goes in the direction of just being a little bit soapy and a little bit musky. To me, like I say, this has a soapy kind of envelope to it, a musky soapiness, and a little bit powdery, dusty, and that's kind of the direction it goes into through the kind of mid base of the fragrance. And the sandalwood seems to actually become stronger as it dries down. I get more sandalwood as it dries down, pairing with this kind of musky, soapy, slightly powdery kind of vibe, layering with this kind of increasing volume of sandalwood. This one, again, like Sandalo, has kind of amber resins in the base, and again, like Sandalo, kind of minimal, little bit kind of nuances of that, also a little bit patchouli-fied, a little bit patchouli going on, but really, like I say, sandalwood focused, musky, soapy, a little bit powdery, nuances of patchouli and amber, and that is it. To me, a little bit, like I say, leaning more feminine for some people because of the sweet florals in the opening. For me, this could probably be pulled off all year round, just the same as Sandalo, and the performance is also the same as Sandalo. 6 to 7 hours longevity, modest sillage projection. I definitely get similarities between both of them, but this latter one is just more focused on kind of that sweet floral kind of combining, but they definitely share a lot of notes and a lot of similarity when you smell them in the dry down, and they go kind of in similar directions, but this one has just a bigger dose of that kind of sweet floral notes. That's it for the reviews. They're not massively complicated to try and describe to you. Hopefully you get what I'm describing, you can imagine it, hopefully. I would suggest, like I say, buying samples first before buying a full bottle. I don't think they're hugely mass appealing. I think not everyone will love them, so definitely try them first. I'm happy I tried them. I wouldn't buy a full bottle of either of them personally for my own taste, but that's just me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you tried them, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.